Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Trans and the Am Friendly Fridays. Today I have with me Amelia. We're going to be talking about a lot of really cool things. How you doing today, Amelia?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. I'm very glad to hear that. How's your week been going so far?
Um, it's been going all right. You know, I guess it just started yesterday, but
Yeah,
at work today it was okay. Uh,
nice.
yeah.
Very cool. Well, that's awesome. Do you want to go ahead and maybe introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe your experience being a trans person?
Oh, sure. Yeah. My name's Amelia. Um, let's see about myself. Yeah, I'm 21. That's a good place to start. I identify as a non-binary trans woman. I am majoring in political science, because I think that's interesting and stuff, and I like politics. Yeah. Mhm.
What got you
uh,
into politics?
Honestly, I think like a lot of people who like are into politics, like especially online, it was very much like the 2016 election is when I first started getting like politically um knowledgeable, I guess, and actually like reading the news and that sort of thing. Um, yeah. hmm And then like over time, I've like moved around politically, and now I am like where I am now, and it's pretty cool. So
Nice. What would you
yeah.
consider yourself if you had to put a title on it? What would you call yourself?
Um, title like honestly, titles are one of those things that are just really weird because they mean different things to different people. So like I'm just like vaguely like socialist, but like I like markets and that sort of thing. But
Hmm.
I guess like market socialist would probably be the closest. But yeah, with that sort of thing, it very much is like when you say like a label for a political thing, everyone has a slightly different version of what that is in their head, and it has a whole bunch of like presuppositions about it.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think as a general label, that one works fine though. Yeah.
Well,
hmm
it's awesome. Well, it's
Yeah.
very good to have you on the show. I know that we've been friends for a little bit longer, um, and it was very nice having you over at our place.
Thank you. That was really fun. I really had a
Yeah,
good time.
I think this is the first time I've had a guest on where I met them first
Really?
before having them on. Yeah, like I met them in
Huh.
person. Um, Certainly not the only guest that I've met in person. I've met Daisy as well, um, and Lucy. Can't forget
Oh yeah.
Lucy. Um, but yeah, no, this is really cool. It's very nice to have you on. So thank you for taking
Yeah.
some time out of your day here to speak with me.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Yeah.
Of
Oh,
course.
thankfully today's one of those days where after work I have like literally nothing going on besides working on school if I want to.
Yeah.
So I'm luckily able to do all online classes this semester.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
uh, yeah, and it has its pros and cons. It's a lot
Hmm.
easier to get distracted and then put things off and get them done at the last minute, but
Yeah.
I made it work so far. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I believe, yeah, experience being trans. I believe that was the next part. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So how did you find that, you were trans? How did you make that discovery within yourself?
it was a very long winding road where it's like once I hit a certain point, I was like, how did I not figure this out sooner? Like, I mean, you like look back and you're like, if you when you like in context recontextualizing things that happened in the past, and you're like, oh, that's why I hated swimming when I was a kid after I outgrew my swim shirt. This explains so much, things things like that. Because I realized I was trans. I mean, I first started like thinking about it in 2020, which I think was the case for a lot of people because of the whole like pandemic and like being home a lot. Kind of although we never had like a proper lockdown, but still home quite a bit.
Right.
Really just gonna give people time to like do a lot of inner like contemplation, I guess, which is something that I've always like struggled with a little bit in
Mm.
like recognizing things about myself. So like in 20 yeah, so like the end of 2019 and 2020, I realized that like I had kind of my awakening where I realized I was like bisexual or pansexual is
Mhm.
yeah normally is the term label I prefer. Um, yeah, there's a difference there, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, and then in 2020, I eventually started like thinking more about gender stuff. Um, yeah, because it was like something I was like kind of familiar with. I knew some trans people, like I was kind of familiar with the whole thing,
Mhm.
but I had never really considered it. Like it was very much like a thing where I'm like, okay, other people can have this, but like I'm not allowed to have this basically
Right.
because yeah, you know. Um, And I think, like, just stuff with, like, religion and stuff and growing up with that, where I don't really have anything against religion, but I think it played a part in helping me not realize that,
Mhm.
sooner, unfortunately. Um, yeah, so basically what I did is, I started thinking about this, like, a lot, especially near, like, the back end of 2020, and, um, around, like, the very beginning of 2021, I started, like, really, really thinking about it and, like, I'm like, this is the way my brain works. Because I had heard about, like, people who are non-binary, and I was like, "What does that mean?" And I basically just watched, like, a whole bunch of YouTube videos over it.
Mhm.
It was like, a lot of the things they're saying here are, weirdly relatable, you know? You know?
Yeah.
And then in 2020, I believe it was near the end of January, um, Abby from Philosophy Tube had her, like, coming out video, and that kinda, like, just really, like, kind of broke through to me where I was like, "Okay, yeah, no, yep, this makes sense." And then I came out to my friends who were, thankfully all, like, pretty supportive, you know? Like, they didn't really, like, get it, like, and as much, as I would've liked, like, especially at first, but, most of them are already, like, some variety of, like, LGBT. I
Mhm.
guess, like, LGB there I don't really I have, like, one friend who's trans who I work with. He's pretty cool. Um, yeah, and then, during that time, I still lived at home, so I couldn't really, like, do anything because my parents, like, specifically my dad, is, like, more conservative just because of the red state, you know? Um, yeah, what can you do?
Right.
But I was able to move out, in October, right before my birthday, actually, so that was cool. Um, and I got and in November, because I would have done this sooner, but that semester was extremely hectic and I was exhausted constantly. But
Mhm.
basically, in November, I managed to get an appointment with a clinic that we have here that mostly does HRT stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, and I was able to get started on HRT like fairly quickly because informed consent is amazing.
Based.
And yeah, and thankfully, I'm still on my parents' insurance, so it pays for it, which is
Oh.
great because money, you know?
Yeah. No, that is
Yeah.
very good. That's very, very
Mhm.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anytime you can get insurance to pay for it, absolutely. You
Yeah,
want to try to
especially
go for it.
because like I'd already budgeted for that. So basically I took the money that I was going to use for HRT and like put it towards laser, and that's
Mhm.
been very nice because unfortunately, unless you live in like, I don't know, California and maybe like a couple other states, insurance isn't paying for laser.
No.
Like it's not gonna happen. So
I thought there was some news that came out of Hawaii recently that said that their healthcare is paying for laser. I thought it was
that's
Hawaii.
pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Maybe it's some other, maybe it's something else. Maybe it's the UK. I can't remember. But
I doubt it's the UK.
yeah. Well, I actually,
Boy.
surprisingly, they're not so bad if I remember.
I think like the worst part of it is the wait lists.
Yeah. Yeah,
Some of the
it's
ones
the
I've
wait
seen where it's
listing.
like they're like just now seeing patients who
Mm,
signed up on the list in like from like 2018 or 19. I can't remember, but it's still like
yeah.
that's a wait. Yeah. But yeah, I've been on yeah, so I started HRT on December 16th, 2021. So I had my 3 months let's see, it would have been Wednesday, this last Wednesday.
Woo, congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
yeah, and it's going pretty well so far. Like I noticed like a lot of like changes like in my face especially. I mean, it helped around the same time. I got a gallon water bottle and started drinking significantly less pop or soda if you're
True.
not from the Midwest.
Pop.
uh, yeah. And started drinking way more water, and that really like I think I've dropped like almost 20 pounds at this point, in
Nice.
like 3 months. So yeah. Mhm.
Very good. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, people really underestimate how much soda contributes to weight gain.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
like
it
for basically since I because when I was 16, I got put on this medicine. I still don't know why I was put on it. My therapist doesn't know why. No one seems to know why because I don't see the psychiatrist I saw anymore.
uh-huh.
There's this medicine called Seroquel that made me like really drowsy and crave salt, and I gained like 60 pounds.
Oh
But
geez.
basically since then I kind of like had like it was kind of like around the, like on my face it was like pretty heavy and like on my neck especially where it kind of just didn't want to go away, but cutting out soda finally like got rid of that, which is nice. So yeah, yeah, no, it is really nice, because like with HRT even like just a month in I was finally able to like take pictures of myself that I didn't just instantly delete because they made me feel like very bad,
Yeah.
yeah, because I'm sorry, this is a little bit disorganized. I probably should have said this
No,
earlier,
you're
but
fine.
my thing with one of the things that held me back from recognizing that I was trans is that it was very much like um, like I mean, at the time, it was very much like, well, I'm not trans because like I don't like feel like dysphoria like about my gender, even though like looking back, I clearly did,
Yeah.
you know. Because like I actually recognized the dysphoria because like there was always like throughout like all of high school and most of middle school there was like kind of like a general like sometimes I would just feel really bad and I had no idea why and I couldn't pinpoint it. But then at one point in it must have been I think it was in 2020. Yeah, it was in 2020. One of my friends like was like some of us were hanging out with one of my friends and she was like, "Hey, let me dress you guys up in some of my old dresses like for fun." And I was like, "Okay." And that was pretty cool. That was yeah, and I was like, "Oh, I feel really good for some reason. Like a weight has been lifted or whatever, you know?"
Yeah.
Like gender euphoria, I guess. I mean that kind of yeah, because it very much was like a thing where before I realized I was trans, I felt bad all the time, but then after I figured it out, it actually made like my dysphoria feel worse until I was able to get on HRT, and now it's still not like amazing, but it's like way better than it was before because it was like I actually know what's wrong now and I can't do anything about it until I'm able to move out. Yeah, it's like I ended up telling my parents at the like it was before the end of 2021 because I moved out like I don't have to worry about being like I don't think my parents would like kick me out or anything, but I didn't really want to deal with even just like a really tense environment, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, my mom like took it okay and like tries to be more or less supportive, and my dad's a bit of a rougher patch, but maybe he'll come around eventually. Who knows? We'll
Yeah.
see. Uh,
He does.
hmm Yeah. Oh, there goes my camera. There
It's
we go.
okay. You're fine. Well, so thank you for sharing that. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. Have you noticed any mental changes since you've been on HRT? Any
Oh
changes in that
yeah,
regard?
no, definitely. Like, I mean, there's the one everyone talks about where it's like you're able to cry like way more easily. Yeah. But I think a lot of that is I feel emotions like much
Mhm.
more clearly than I did before. Like before I was kind of like through like a haze almost and I couldn't really like, just figure out what they were, like grasp onto them very well.
Right.
Um and now like yeah, they feel more like real to me, I guess. Um because I've always kind of had a bit of a like rough relationship with emotions. Um, because like one thing I started having in 2014 is I think it was maybe it was 2015. It was one of them anyway. where basically I started out of nowhere having when I got super anxious and would have like like panicky and stuff, I started like having seizures and nobody could figure out what was going on because they weren't because they did some tests and they're not they're called psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. Um and the usually when someone has a seizure and it's epileptic, they can't remember it. I'm awake the entire time. It's fun.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's the sort of thing where after a certain amount of time you just get used to it and you're kind of like at the midpoint you're like, well, I'm just waiting for this to be over.
Hmm.
Um, yep, I'm sure it'll end any second now. But yeah, and that's basically caused by very unhealthy coping mechanisms I developed like as a kid to deal with like a lot of the like issues that like dysphoria and things cause to kind of like hide the problem away.
Hmm.
Like I remember very distinctly when I was like really young, like probably like 7 or 8, basically being like, okay, well, I like hate everything about like my body. Again, another thing which is like, come on, how did you not figure this out sooner? But like, I don't know, like I'm good at reading and I'm like, because I was like a gifted kid, which
Yeah.
means I had ADHD. Um, yeah, where I was gonna, but I'm good at school and stuff. So I was basically like, I don't really care like about my body. And I'm just gonna like put that in this little box in my head
Mm.
and then just like focus on like mental stuff and it'll be okay. Which is a very bad thing to do. Do not do that. It is how you just dissociate all the time, and it's not fun. Um, I worked on that stuff with my therapist quite a bit, and I very rarely have seizures now. Like maybe like once every like 3 or 4 months at this point. It's
Yeah.
not very common. Yeah.
Good. I'm happy to hear
So
that.
yeah. Oh, mhm. It's
Um,
yeah.
so do you want to move on, change the topic a little bit?
Sure.
Let's talk about do you have any like interests or hobbies or anything that take up some of your time?
I mean, I read quite a bit, not as much as I would prefer, but I still do. I'm able to do it from time to time when I'm not super busy. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like, and I read like a variety of things. Like, I really like fantasy, but like fantasy where it's like, I mean, generally where it's like harder magic systems as opposed to like softer magic, like which is like softer magic is like Harry Potter, which I did read as a lot as a kid.
Hmm.
Um, yep. Uh, and but harder magic is more when there's like hard like rules for specifically how the magic functions,
Hmm.
and you kind of like don't deviate from those. Like one author I really like is this author named Brandon Sanderson, who's written quite a few books like Mistborn and the Stormlight Archive and a
Hmm.
bunch of other things. And those are all pretty cool. Uh, I play quite a few video games. I know I have very adventurous hobbies, but Elden Ring is hard. That's all I'll
Yeah?
say about that. I'm not good at it. Um, but I have beaten all the other FromSoft games besides Demon Souls and Bloodborne because I don't have a PS4,
Yeah.
and I am optimistic. I also play them all with a mouse and keyboard, and will not be stopped. People's reaction, I tell them that is funny. The reason for that is I never had like a console that used a controller.
Mhm.
When I was a kid, because like I had an Atari and I had a Wii, which both don't use like like the
Traditional,
PlayStation X.
yeah, right.
Yeah, so I just am bad at using a traditional controller because I just haven't had years of practice. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel you. I
but
wasn't never really a big console person myself.
hmm
I think I had like a GameCube,
yeah, huh.
and that was pretty much it. I didn't have a PS2. I didn't have like a Xbox or anything like that.
Mhm.
Um, but most of the games that I played were either on handheld or on the computer. So I
Yeah,
feel
I
you.
mostly mine was either like I played a lot on the computer. Like I used to play Zoo Tycoon 2 and Age of
Oh.
Empires 2 like literally all the time, and it was great. In Zoo Tycoon 2, I had all the expansion packs because I liked it so much, and I really liked the I don't know, did you ever do the like Extinct Animals one? Did you
Mm-mm.
ever see that one? it was pretty funny because you could like put dinosaurs and stuff in your zoo, but to unlock the dinosaurs, you basically had to do this like game where you went onto the ground and like found the fossils and assembled them in like a puzzle, which is like
That's
this
based.
is yeah, no, it was very fun. I unlocked all of them, but it
Ah,
was yeah.
that's so
No, I've
cool.
always liked zoos. Zoos are pretty cool.
I
Um,
spent a lot of time in Roller Coaster Tycoon. That was one of my favorites.
I heard that that game was really fun. I never played it, but like I've seen stuff about it and it looks pretty cool.
I
But
also played a lot of Sim Ant,
mm,
where you
what is
would
that like you simulate an ant farm or something?
yeah,
Nice.
you basically simulate an ant colony, and with a queen and everything, and manage the worker ants and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool. Huh.
There was another freeware shareware game that was going around back in the early days of the internet called Elf Bowling. Did you ever hear
Hmm,
of that?
I have not.
It's
Huh.
Santa bowling, but all of the pins are elves. And they're
That's like
all relatively raunchy. They're not like very kind
oh, I
elves.
see.
They're
So
pretty
you're
pissed.
bowling over elves.
Yeah.
This
Well,
feels like a workplace violation of some kind. I don't know.
it was not OSHA compliant.
hmm
Um, but so most of the people who installed that game also got a computer virus.
Oh, as was the ways of the early internet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
I
it
feel like
was.
I
Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
I just feel like I started using the internet slightly after that era, where it was probably like on the edge of where like if you got like I don't know, you could still get viruses, but it was starting to get like less like Wild West, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. hmm
Gosh, yeah. The early
Yeah.
days of the internet were.
hmm Yeah.
It was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
Oh yeah, I know, I imagine.
If you have to
Yeah.
find a ROM anymore, you'll understand kind of what it was like because there's literally like 7 download buttons or some shit like that, and it's you've got to find which one is the right one.
hmm I will say one of my proudest moments was as a kid figuring out how to install an ad blocker in Google Chrome. So I didn't have to figure out which of the download buttons on my Minecraft mods was the right one.
Smart, smart. I
Yeah,
like
then I was
that.
like, oh, it's always the blue link, isn't it? Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, I played a lot of Minecraft as a kid. Uh, that was the big game when I was in middle school.
Oh gosh, making me feel old.
I'm sorry,
I didn't
Aaron.
play
You're not
Minecraft
you're
until
not that old.
I was like 28 when I first played 29 when I first played Minecraft.
So like literally just a few years ago.
Yeah, I missed the boat hard.
Wow.
Yeah,
Ah,
so all of this like when I think Lucy made a server a while back and like
I think she did. Yeah.
when we were doing that server, that was like the second server I had ever been part of.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun back then, but I don't know, things happen. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah. No. Minecraft's one of those games where it's like it's very fun, but the vanilla. I mean, for some people, for just like the standard game, can just go like forever with it, and mainly because they're just great at either building or a redstone. I am
Mhm.
not good at either of those. So I got really heavy into modding things and which add a lot like more machines and things to do and like magic mods that let you do cool
Mhm.
things. Um, and I got really into that because I really like setting up systems to do
Oh.
things for me. Even though a lot of the times the systems were self-serving and like it's like a mod where you set things up to make more things that work specifically for that mod,
Mm.
and you can make cool things with them
Nice.
sometimes. So
Pretty cool.
yeah,
I know there was somebody that did remade all of Pokemon Red and Blue in Minecraft.
yeah, I'm sure that was with like command blocks and stuff.
Yeah.
Some of the things people do with that are absolutely insane. Like there was this one YouTuber who I think his name was Seth Bling, who created a working Atari. I think it was an Atari in Minecraft using command blocks. It was you could not play it really because it would load like one frame
Oh
every
yeah.
like after a while, but it actually did work, which
Damn.
is pretty insane. I think he's also literally like I think a rocket scientist or something like that. So he's very overqualified, but you know, people
We've
have
got only
hobbies.
the best Minecraft mods here, people. Only the best.
Absolutely. Uh,
Um, well, was there anything else you might have wanted to discuss here today?
hmm. Um, like I can't really think of anything just like off the top of my head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any ideas?
Um, I wanted to talk to you about, well, just very briefly, like
Mhm.
your how you feel about your future.
Oh, hmm, hmm. And right now, it's a little bit like it feels a little bit like I'm in kind of like on like almost like a I feel like there's a word I'm looking for that I can't find. Like a point of like either I go like a crossroads almost.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to a new college this next semester. Because I went to a community college to get my prerequisites out of the way, and now I'm going to be going to like an actual like state school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I need to like figure out what I actually like want to do because I'm going to be studying political science, but it's like, do I want to just do that, or do I want to like go to law school later on? But then there's also like money and stuff to keep in mind, and it's like
Right.
a little bit of a I'm not entirely sure yet. But I hope I can figure it out fairly soon. Um, yeah, cause mhm, yeah, mm,
Yeah, I hope you
yeah,
can figure it out pretty soon too. Um,
yeah.
that would be really nice.
Mm-hmm. I kind of had a
Um,
similar point in 2019 because I got to a point where my like kind of mental health was bad enough that I had to like drop out of high school and do a GED in 2019. And
mhm.
that feels like kind of a similar situation where I don't think I'm going to drop out of college. That's like a very like if I did that, I don't know what I would do. But um it's kind of a similar like turning point where it's like, okay, what am I gonna do here? I need to figure it out. But
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
Well, very cool. Very cool. I really appreciate you coming on and talking with me. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm not looking at you right now,
You're
but I
good.
am absolutely paying attention. I'm just pulling up a list really quick because I need to start doing something at the end of my
Cool.
episodes that I haven't been doing. Um, so I'm trying to pull up that list here right now so I can do that. Okay. All right. Anything else you might have wanted to share here before we wrap up?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
I
Well,
hope
it
what I
was
did share was interesting. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience. Everybody sharing their experience is very valid. I think it's important to do so because you never know who might be watching, who finds something in your experience that really resonates with them.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so that's kind of my goal here is to get as many of those experiences out there so a bunch of people can listen to them and maybe find something that they relate with and
Hmm.
maybe do that for a couple of different experiences. So, yeah, thank you. It really does mean a lot to all of us here that you were willing to come on and share that.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Yeah.
Well, I do thank you all for coming out to another episode of Friendly Friday. If you would go ahead and check out Amelia's links down below, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and like button and leave a comment and everything. Tell Amelia hi. I do want to go ahead and thank all of our patrons. We've got David Tramer, Phoebe Spence, and Torrential-Rage as Greenleaf patrons. Olivia Brown is our Silverleaf patron. Dan Hunsaker is our Goldleaf patron. And Dahlia Doom as our Transleaf patron. So thank you all so much. Every little bit of it goes back into the show. If you'd like to go ahead and subscribe to the Patreon, you can do so below. There's a link down there, patreon.com/trans in the app. I do thank you all again for coming out. Take care and have a great weekend.